9.
No.
Can I also leave the room?
Yeah.
Put on my disguise. I'm working, trying to see through
yeah, I'll allow it because I think it's fun. All right. So, who is the disguise? Who are you coming back in as?
The judge says that I have documents and disguises that let me pass as a second identity.
All right, so you're coming in as a separate dwarf, and you have a disguise. I know that.
Oh, okay. Oh, so I come up with them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. I'm.
Does mean that the disguise kit will be depleted until you find, somewhere to replenish it.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so you're coming in as a different character.
I'm Gerald Ford.
Okay. All right.
Hi, Half Pint, can we come back in with the vending machines all sorted?
Half Pint is gone, yeah.
Oh my. Is he dead?
No. All right.
No.
So,
Okay.
I want to explain this because it's...
What the fuck is happening?
Half Pint attempted to... He sent you out of the room and he said he tried to trick... Or he tried to deceive this man into... basically
That's
saying,
not the bard's code.
he basically said, "Oh, I'm on your side. I'm working with you. Can we parlay?" But he failed his deception roll.
Oh.
So what has happened is he's left the room. He's putting on his disguise, and he's going to go back in as a different dwarf. Yeah.
Sounds foolproof.
Okay. So
Different dwarf.
different dwarf. Okay, so make another deception check for me.
Has he told us to plan in the corridor?
I assume so, because otherwise...
Or are we going to be surprised by the different dwarf?
Okay, you got to beat 21.
Oh, fuck off.
How much does it go up to?
20.
20 plus bonuses.
Yeah.
So I need to get 20.
It's doable. 15, not quite enough. So let's just recap what's happened from his point of view. All right, so you've gone on your side. He's seen through it. You've left. Come back in with. You're a dwarf. You presumably already have a beard, so a different false beard on top of that one.
Yeah.
And gone. Well, hello, my good man.
I'm also your friend.
Gerald Ford. I work at the guard where I've been told to break you out. It's failed, so.
Yeah, it's spelled. So I mean, he kind of.
Do I fall for it?
Yeah, you're like, where's Harpine?
Gerald!
Yeah, so, I mean, what next? Because that's failed.
Yeah, I feel like we're not going to crack this guy.
Alright. So at this
Shall we
point...
give up and go back to the pub?
So at this point, Wingard looking very... Well, you have no passage down river to the festival.
I think,
No.
look, if the mysterious person that stole the goods ran down towards the docks, is it worth going down to the docks and seeing if we can find anything out down there?
Docks are large, big docks.
I was going to say, it's
we
kind
should
of...
probably give up on the whole thing.
It's an entire town on a river, it's...
So I think I know what the thing is.
Oh, have you got a secret?
I have heard rumours of an enchanted copper piece, which is named the Lucky Penny, which is supposed to give the owner power over life and death. Now, that seems like the sort of thing that the Master Lord of Waterdeep would want, and it's also something I also...
It's also something that I would like to get my hands upon for no suspicious reason whatsoever.
Well, while we're sharing, just in case it's helpful for the investigation, I know about the lonely painting. I don't think it's relevant, to be honest, now that I look at it. If we come across a
painting of Dorian Gray?
Nah, remind me to tell you about it if we see a painting.
Anyway, so yeah, you kind of, the hustle and bustle of the docks, you've all kind of come through that way. At this point, if anybody's gone into the crowd, your investigation skills will not be able to find them.
Really bad.
So, Wingard's looking very worried about this. This is above his pay grade, and as the kind of captain of the city militia, he begs your aid once more. He says that he's going to be transporting these two prisoners, Patrick and this unnamed man, down river tomorrow to Daggerford.
Hey, we're going that way.
Yeah, on his cousin's ship, the Delimber Rose. And he mentions if you go, he's certain that the captain of the area watch who lives in Daggerford will certainly pay you a handsome reward, and he will owe you a favour were you to go down and kind of keep the prisoners in line.
The festival's in Daggerford.
Festival's in Daggerford, yeah.
Cool. He said above his pay grade. We haven't even been paid. So
yeah. Okay. So
we were getting paid in passage, and we're getting this passage now. So
wait, are we?
We're getting passage. We're getting passage down the river.
No, well, my question was: is it like tonight or in the morning? Are we
it's
going to
the crack of dawn. So his cousin's ship, the Delimber Rose, is the only one leaving on dawn tomorrow.
So we rest in an inn.
You rest in an inn. Your spells are back. You're at full health.
Will they pay for the inn?
Yeah, he's happy to. Yeah, he's happy to kind of put it up. I actually think that it's you. You will get free room and boardings because of your chances of bard. But yeah, he's happy to cover the cost of the year too.
Half point, no free board.
I thought you were a bard.
Oh, I am.
It's just not a good one.
I'm a shitty bard. There's no free.
Am I going to the festival because of the reason that I sent you?
Yeah. All right. So listen. Moving on. Don't think about it. So at the crack of dawn, in the crisp morning air, you stand on the quayside, surveying the vessels on the grey flow. Great barges forge up and down the river, struggling against the vicious current. Sailing ships stay towards the centre, their deeper drafts ensuring that they can't come close to the banks. So your vessel, the Delimber Rose, is proudly riding the waves out towards the centre. Its Tattered Pennant flying proudly in the breeze. It looks to be a cross between a keel ship and a galley, so it's kind of almost 45 foot long. Think of a canal narrowboat, but much wider. And it has a lower set of portholes towards the base, which implies that it has a lower deck as well.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it does. And a launch from the ship is making its way towards the quay when Wingard arrives, the prisoners in chains flanked by 2 guards on either side of him. He greets you, and then with a roar of laughter, he springs to help a shorter dwarf climb from the launch. They exchange pleasantries, and then his brows furrow, and he turns to the party. And he says, "This is my cousin Dabrand, on whose ship you will travel to Daggerford. There is no finer river courser on the Sword Coast. He will bear you to your destination swiftly. I trust you will ensure there is no trouble for the prisoners. Were it not for the fact that his ship is the only one departing for Daggerford in the next few days, I would not ask him to bear this burden."
Say to Davron, thank you so much for giving us passage.
The brand.
The one thing I've written down.
I said you get
the brand. I said Davron. I see.
The brand.
Like
I can
Bobby
only apologise. He's a bard. You know what they're like.
Okay.
Very egotistical.
So Dabrand kind of demurs politely. You get the sense that he's kind of ill at ease on the shore. And within moments, the 3 of you, the prisoners flanked by yourself and sailors from the Delimber Rose, are on your way back to the ship. Wingard waves from the quay, and then he turns and marches back into the centre of the town. Can you all make perception checks for me?
7.
Also 7.
Ah.
17.
17.
I feel more of a bond with you now.
Okay, so you see the nameless man, who you've not got the name of yet, smirk slightly as you make your way out there. But he realises that you've seen him smirking, and he turns to catch your eye, and he just glowers at you again. So, eventually you board... You glower at him back.
Are you going to tell us what you've spotted?
So, you board the Delimber Rose, which kind of looks like this. It's not the most aerodynamically designed barge in history, but there you go. So it's got kind of this upper deck here with a hatch for loading cargo, steps down there to get into the lower deck, and steps up here to the kind of the wheelhouse and with the ship's wheel there. And then with your aid, you transport the prisoners downstairs. So you can see where all the cargo has been loaded, and the 2 prisoners are tied to these posts at the back of the ship, the kind of structural supports.
They're on a different one, not together.
They are facing each other across these things, but as you watch, Patrick kind of flinches a little bit and spins round to the back of the thing. And so kind of you're introduced to the crew of the ship, and there are 4 people, not including Dabrand, who is the captain. They are named Tam, Carlin, Ref, and Ride, and they're all polite, but they're busy with the duties of sailing.
Okay.
I say all their names 3 times to make sure I remember them.
Tam, Carlin, Ref, and Ride. With the exception of Carlin, they are all human. The ship sets sail. You start heading down the grey flow.
What's Carlin?
Well, the ship sets sail. You start heading down the river. Kind of Durandal falls behind, and as soon as you get beyond the side of the village, Carlin, who is a gnome, goes to the front of the ship, and she starts singing. She starts singing, yeah.
Oh, no.
Mm-hmm.
Ask her if she knows Tabitha, and then she says, I think we all know each other.
Yeah, she's incensed by your insensitivity and racism towards gnomes.
I say it was an ironic joke.
Oh, she gets it.
Sweet.
I go to the front of the boat.
Yep.
I whip out my lute.
Okay.
Play along to the singing.
Okay.
Geez.
Yeah, I see. So she seems...
I guess they haven't earned good music, so...
Oh, shit! Anyway, so, you get the... From playing alongside her for a couple of minutes, you get the impression that what she's actually doing is singing a sleep spell. She's doing a soporific.
I've forgotten. What are you, Carty?
I'm an elf.
Actually, I should have just guessed that, shouldn't I?
Yeah.
You're such a Legolas.
I used it's my character from when I played Warhammer with my brother. We were called Carty and Chaser. We were twins.
How are we spelling Carty?
Catyi. Mum didn't like when I changed the spelling. Oh, you have actual disguise?
Yeah.
I thought you were just riffing.
And I've slept, so I've got them back now.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I'm going to allow that you...
Wait, is that how disguises work? Surely you just always have disguises.
I'm going to allow that there being a festival in Durandal, he was able to find... Before you met at the dock in the morning, he was able to find a shop that sold more grease paint and all that sort of stuff. But otherwise, yeah, you couldn't, sleep in the forest and wake up with a disguise pouch full of... you could make stuff with bird droppings and squirrel shit, but it wouldn't necessarily be as convincing. This being a ship which travels non-stop down the river, there being sort of a bounty on being able to get cargo down as fast as you can. You have Colin at the front. She's the gnome. She's singing a kind of soporific over the water. You have at the back, you have Debrand, who's on the ship's wheel. Now that he's back on the ship, you get the impression that he's much more voluble. He's comfortable on water. He doesn't feel at home on land. And to his right is his kind of the first mate, Ride, who is kind of a grizzled old human. He knows the waterways like the back of his hand. But obviously, being human compared to Debrand, he's still a stripling. And then downstairs, kind of keeping an eye over the prisoners, you have Tam, who's this heavy-set human river worker. She's kind of an itinerant. Lady. She does odd jobs up and down the river. And with her as well as kind of going through the cargo, making sure that everything's stowed, is Ride, who is Ref's niece. And as you way down, you pass other barges poling their way back up against the current, because obviously it's very easy to go downstream towards Daggerford and the Shining Coast and the Sword Coast rather. But coming back up that used to be the hard part. Talking to Debrand, ever since the Sundering, which is when the landscape got torn apart, the river has actually forked and split and now diverges and meets again in various ways. So the rivermen are actually making a killing at the moment because they know the fastest way down the river. So whereas once it was a straight shot, now there is a variety of different routes down, and there's and they have to kind of, there's almost like Han Solo. He made the castle run in 12 parsecs or whatever. There's a reputation and a monetary aspect to being first down the river.
I know rumours about the Sundering.
Oh, tell me more.
Want to hear that?
Tell me more. Carty.
I feel like we already know them, but thank you for getting my name right. The upheaval of the landscape has displaced some monsters, doing them out of other natural habitats. Also, rumours of ancient treasures and beasts emerging from the earth have brought out explorers. And I just think we already kind of knew that, but it's good to make chat on a journey.
Yeah, I'm wondering why we've got some soothing singing happening. I mean, I'm backing up in the lute.
Is she soothing some sea monsters, perhaps?
So if you talk to Carlin, you're both bards, so you kind of hear her singing, and both being kind of magic users, you recognise that there is this kind of spell, there's a magical aspect to the singing. You go over and she explains that she is singing down the bullywugs, which as a result of the Sundering have been forced out of their swamp habitat to the south, and they are pushing their way north. And so part of the big reason why the river people can charge so much now is that they do have to be able to keep the bullywugs under control and not, attack. those of you who, if anybody wants to make a roll to see if they know anything about bullywugs, I'm happy to do that.
What number does that come out of?
It would be nature, but I'll give you any wisdom or intelligence bonuses you have. Do you? Okay, then roll and then roll, and I'll give you advantage on it. And in fact, the fact that you've been around the grey float, the grey float for so long, I will allow that you kind of have advantage on this.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
2.
Okay, roll again. You have advantage.
Okay.
And don't forget to roll your bonus.
19.
Okay. Bullywugs are humanoid frog creatures. They exist in the swamp. They are very materially led culture. So the king of the bullywugs at any given time is the one that has accrued the most wealth. But wealth isn't necessarily what we would associate it with. They ascribe no value to coins or anything. It's kind of just any shiny trinkets that they have that are obviously kind of valuable. So they look a little bit like that. And having been driven out of the swamp to the south, they are now roaming the rivers. And so all the ships now have a singer, like Carlin, who tries to keep down the bullywugs by singing constantly to lull them to sleep.
It looks like John Cleese in Shrek.
Yes. Yeah. So, Debrand, who's now very voluble, he mentions that it's going to be 3 days, and he also mentions that because they are, what with having to keep an eye on the prisoners...
3 days, sorry, this trip.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I don't bring enough changes of underwear.
You can dredge them off the back of the ship and clean them that way.
No, I won't.
He hits a bullywug with his underwear.
Just can't appreciate my loot back up.
Make a performance check for me.
This is going to be the truth for him. He gives up the loot forever.
Was that a 4? She seems too polite to comment. But you know.
I fiddle in the corner.
Alright, make a performance check for me.
Okay.
3? Alright. I mean, at this point, you may as well...
No. I smugly look at these guys trying to play music and let them be.
We're out there making an effort.
Well, Debrand, as kind of evening sets in, everyone's settled into the rhythm of going downstream, and Debrand mentions that it would really help him out if, what with having to keep an eye on the prisoners...
There's some sort of effect.
What with having to keep an eye on the prisoners, it would really help him if one of you might like to take a turn on the tiller, while the other one might like to relieve Carlin of her duties as song mistress, and she will teach you this song, and he will teach you Rivercraft.
Party, would you like to drive the boat, or would you like to sing?
That's very nice of you to ask. I'll drive the boat.
Okay, can we quick check? What's the word that should be used instead of drive for drive the boat? Steer?
Steer the boat.
Steer the boat.
Steer the boat.
Okay.
And that works because it's reliant on dexterity, of which, as an elf ranger, you have a lot.
Guys, I don't know if I've mentioned, but we elves are very graceful. We don't bring it up enough.
I really enjoy your lutes playing. You should keep playing whilst I sing the song.
Oh, you're going to sing, are you?
I think I should sing the song that I've been taught by Carlin. Or am being taught.
I think we should have to actually sing.
Okay, so what with the need to keep watch, it's way past midnight by the time you actually get to your meal with the crew. And, down below you can occasionally hear a kind of a shouting match going on between Patrick and this unnamed man. But for the most part, you kind of get the impression that it's the unnamed man kind of roaring obscenities at Patrick, who doesn't tend to respond very much. So what are you doing when it's midnight on the first night? You jacking it, all right? Going in between some of the crates and the cargo, jacking it.
Is Elgin singing and I'm driving?
Yeah.
Steering?
Yeah, I'll absolutely allow that.
No, but I mean, weren't we already doing?
Yeah, you'll be relieved. So Carlin's back singing and Tam is on the tiller, so the rest of you are sat kind of having an evening meal. So what's your plan?
Can we ask them, what did you guys get up to in Joradal when you had your stopover?
Yeah, who are you asking that to? You have Ref, you have Ride, you have Debrand.
I'd like to ask Ride.
Mm-hmm. What she was up there?
Yeah.
What she was up to? Okay, so
She's the niece.
She is the niece of the first mate. I just think she might be the most forthcoming of the whole group.
Don't explain that to her.
She
Feels special.
she regales you with stories of, they were only in port 2 or 3 days, but her and her uncle went out a couple of nights. He's a lightweight, so he can't drink very much. So she was telling you stories about how she had to get him back on board with a couple of likely lads and a rowing boat and whatever. And she's kind of very interested in the fact that this is her first major stop off at Duradal this year, because it's kind of been a while since this barge has been going up and down the river.
I ask her, whereabouts the Luz?
You just go over the side as nature intended.
Oh, so that the ladies just do that as well, like for number twos.
I'm an elf, so we're very graceful.
She says, onesies, twosies, both over the side.
Half Pint wanders over to the side of the boat and does a number two.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Make a perception check for me.
Oh, wow. Is this how he dies?
18.
You see almost a silhouette beneath the water slide away. It looks like it looks like what you have just been described as a bullywug. It looks like it's been asleep and it's just kind of slid past the boat as it goes along.
Good thing Colin's been singing.
Isn't it?